Hey, awesomes. How are we doing today? It is Wednesday, about I guess midweek of what are we on week? What are we on? Week 10? Week 11? I don't remember now. um, so yeah, we're burning right along here. And I promised you this week. Well, I sent you the message the other day that this week I didn't have any discussion posts. Just the project 1B would be due. Put out a video about that last week. Had several of you, feel free to send me your links or whatever ahead of time if you want me to provide you with any feedback or give me some initial impressions or whatever. I'm happy to do that, but please see the video last week about Project 1B. So for this week, this video is going to kind of be like not necessarily a full overview because I'm going to get into in a second, show you some samples for Project 3C that I put up. And note a few things in that as you're putting those things together this week and finishing up hopefully your primary research, your secondary research, and then hopefully we're scaffolding and putting this thing together hopefully soon. All right. So let's take a look at what I posted for you. I did post a few examples. So obviously there's two classes, so they're both set up the same. So if you go to projects, click on the projects tab, it will bring you to this. All right. And so I got project 3 here. And project 3C samples. So I've taken the liberty of giving you an A paper. I think technically that one was an A minus, and I think this one was a B minus, but they're, roughly they're A and B range, if you will. All right, so, and then recall from the last video, I talked to you about the book and how we're using the scaffolding from Markel in the recommendation report chapter, which is chapter 13. And then I had said that you can kind of basically begin on page 362. All right, I don't care about the letter of transmittal, but you can see right here, these papers here also start on the what we'd call the title page. All right, giving the title, et cetera, et cetera. So here we've got like a all right. Here we have they did a title page and then a title page here who was prepared for very specifically. And here are all the students' names, as you will see on the sample that starts on page 362. The date, okay, what it is, obviously it's a recommendation report for this class, et cetera, but it's prepared for this particular one for the police department, Detroit Police Department. And then you can see here, there is no abstract. And I recall, as I recall, I believe I mentioned that. I just want to reiterate that because if you start on page 362, on the next page is an abstract, okay? I'm more concerned about the executive summary, which comes after the table of contents, okay? So when you think about formatting, please feel free to use what's in here, starting on page 362, sans the abstract. All right, so then you have the introduction, and then research method, results and discussion, conclusion, recommendation, and then there's probably references and or appendices. I'm going too fast here. Yeah, references and then appendices, and you can see the corresponding page number here, right? All right, so this is how you want to format this and keep this all nice. So here's the list of illustrations. They've had 3 figures, and so they listed those. Okay, so I want you to note, as far as formatting is concerned, what this particular paper is doing really, really well, and that is formatting. So every section, so let's go back up here to the table of contents, right? So every section, executive summary, right? These are our top level headings, right? So executive summary, introduction, research method, results and discussion, conclusions, recommendation. Each one of those, when you come to that section, you begin it on its own new page. Okay, and we'll see that when we slide down here. All right, so let's go back down here. List of illustrations, again, on its own page. Executive summary starts on its own page, right? what's interesting about the executive summary, it is literally, you almost want to think about, that's why it's so similar in a lot of ways to the executive to an abstract, but it's but different. But anyway, so the executive summary really kind of want to think about almost each one of these paragraphs being like addressing like the sections that you've got coming up, right? So they did theirs kind of in a way of like a numbering system there, which is totally fine. They may have corresponded to the tasks. And starting on its own page, here is the introduction, research methods, and something that this group did really well that I will encourage you to do is that with research methods, they kept it task oriented, right? So they're going to go through the research methods, and here are their 4 tasks. Results, the 4 tasks, right? It's very easy for someone who's reading this and maybe they're focusing on one of the specific tasks or whatever, they can go back really easily and locate what you did, what your methods were, what the research method was for task 1. They can then see your results, right? Your findings or your discussion about those right here. And these are explicated extremely well. Task 2. Task 3, notice the formatting too, the hierarchical formatting, as well as the way that you then have this in the bold italics, followed up by regular bold, which is left justified. And I also want to point out here too, since this kind of is becoming more of a formatting video, notice that at the end of every single paragraph, line space, and then the next paragraph starts left justified. Okay, it's very neat and very clean, and works out extremely well. And notice each one of the figures are both labeled, numbered, and then given a title, and then they're referred to in the paper as figure 2. That's also very important because it's for your audience, right? Think about our audience and our purpose. Our purpose is to convey in this recommendation report what we've done, what our results were, what we found, what our conclusions therefore are, and then what we then recommend based on all that. And keeping it very, very task oriented also helps you, right? Literally stay on task. All right, subheadings. This is just all right. Then conclusions, and this is the formatting here that moved that up a space, but it started on its own page, right? And then same thing for recommendations. Okay, it would start on its own page, and then so they split it up into education and supervised injection sites, and then they have their reference page or pages, I should say. And then their appendix, and they give me all the good stuff, all the interview questions, the responses to the interview questions. So they had interview 2, and there's interview 3. Yeah, all right there. So this is just formatted beautifully, and the content is equally strong. A couple of areas, but anyway, that gives us a pretty good idea as far as, I guess I'm going to title this a formatting video more so than but I think that's a good place to be because you guys are like starting to put your stuff together, and I would start thinking about it task oriented, right? And that's a good way to begin and to start. So let's do something here real quick. All right, I'm going to put myself down. Let's take a look here. I feel like I'm off a week here. Let's look at the weekly modules. We're at week 11. All right, so let's go back up to the schedule, and let's see how much time do we have for project 3C. So let's run down here. When is 3C? Project 3C is due Thursday during finals week, which I guess is technically after week 12. So we'll do drafts of this next week. All right, that's fair enough. Okay, good. All right, so we've got an extra week then. So you've got next week for a draft, and then you have one more, not necessarily a whole week, but you've got a few days in finals week if you wanted to put that together in our final thing, the performance review memo, which we'll talk a little bit more about. All right, so yeah, we're in the middle of week 11. We need to have a draft of this by a week from Friday, so I can take a look at it that weekend, as well as get some peer review for it. And then you and your collaborative group will have like 2 or 3 days to then turn in a final draft and give me a chance to grade it real quick before the university and El Presidente come knocking on my door looking for grades. All right, guys, thank you for watching. Keep up the good work. You guys are doing amazing work. I'm working the project. Everything I've read so far for Project 3Bs have been amazing. You guys are just killing it this spring, summer semester. I know I'm a little behind on week 6 and week 8 discussion posts. I've been reading through those and making notes of checking the little boxes off and putting all that stuff together. So I hope to get all that stuff caught up in the next few days. And if you have any questions about anything, just let me know. Other than that, you guys are doing amazing. You guys are doing awesome. Please do not hesitate to reach out to me if there's anything I can do. All right, guys, you have a most wonderful week. I will be back with more specific videos as warranted. Bye now.